Hi, my name is Michael Poley, and I've never seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer. My friends are obsessed and always make jokes and references to it, and so now, 20 years later, I've been convinced to watch the show from beginning to end, one episode a week. I'm a Buffy Virgin. Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Buffy Virgin. My name is Michael Poley. I'm the Virgin. I've only seen up to Season 3, Episode 7 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer Revelations. And on the show today, we have John Landis, a Buffy enthusiast.
That's me. Hello.
We have Denis St. John, a horror comics cartoonist.
Buy my book. Buy my book.
What's that book called, Dennis? People can't buy it if they don't know what it's called.
It's called The Land of Many Monsters and Many More Monster Tales, available on Amazon right now. It's just one click away. Get spooky.
And what's in it?
It's 111 pages of monster tales. It's got, I think, 9 short stories, something like that, that range from tales about fish monsters to dinosaurs to witches, and more.
I just read the one where Satan... I just heard the one where Satan is a children's magician at a birthday party for cartoon characters. That was awesome and terrifying.
Thank you very much.
I enjoyed that. That was excellent.
And also today we have a special guest. It's Stacy.
Hello. I don't have a book.
Oh, that's too bad. Stacy's an educator and a pop cultural writer and a Buffy enthusiast.
I am.
But she doesn't have a book yet.
I don't have a book yet. I'm working on it.
Well, cool. So this is a very exciting and dramatic episode of Buffy that I've been waiting for a long time. It's really exciting. There's a lot to discuss. So we're going to get things started with the summary, and then we'll be back with great lines. Okay, so let me share my screen. Share computer sound. Okay, so everyone just thumbs up if you can hear this.
Surprise! There's a new Watcher in town. Gwendolyn Post has been sent down from the Watcher's corporate office to evaluate Giles and to take over as Faith's new Watcher. So she's sort of like Giles Concentrate, more British and more disapproving. She warns that the demon Lagos is in town, and he wants the Glove of Minigon, which will grant him massive and unspecified power. Of course, that would be Lagos the demon, not the city in Nigeria, which is something Giles might have known if he had a few more demon books lying around instead of junior encyclopedias, like a proper occult librarian should. While researching about the demon, Xander accidentally finds himself making out with Willow again. Feeling guilty and distressed, Xander volunteers for glove-grabbing duty. Only what he finds isn't just the glove. Angel, it turns out, is still alive. He's got the Glove of Minigon, and he's doing the Lindy Hops of lips with Buffy. The next morning, the gang puts together a sort of intervention for Buffy. You see, she needs to quit smooching the monster who killed all those people, including Miss Calendar. Buffy can admit that she has a problem. It's just that she thought she could keep those late-night, shirtless Tai Chi sessions in platonic territory. The gang piles on a bit, but Giles does rein them in. You see, Buffy can make her own decisions. In private, though, Giles reminds her that Angel tortured him, and he isn't exactly over it. Giles doesn't tell the visiting Watcher about Angel, but he does mention that the Glove of Minigon is being held by a friend in a mansion. Once she has the exact address memorized, Gwendolyn Post bonks Giles on the head with some of his decor, and he is once again out for the count. Finding Giles unconscious, again, Faith immediately assumes Angel is to blame, even if Xander isn't so sure. She runs off to the mansion to take care of Angel once and for all. She arrives there to find Angel locked into combat with the Watcher gone wrong, except of course Faith doesn't know about the gone wrong part just yet, so she attacks Angel. Buffy arrives and tries to defend Angel. The result is we finally get the Slayer vs. Slayer mirror match that we've been waiting for all season. With the Slayers distracted, Gwendolyn is free to claim the magic gauntlet for herself. The gauntlet grabs onto her arm like a spiky Chinese finger trap, and before long, this evil Watcher is shooting force lightning at our beloved heroes. Setting their differences aside for the moment, Buffy and Faith unite. But how to separate the magical glove from her? Oh, right. Just cut off her arm. With Angel back on the side of good and the glove permanently destroyed, the gang seems to be out of danger. But Faith has some bruises that just don't show on the outside. The end.
That was
Good
a great
job.
summary, John.
Well, thank you. Sorry, the audio kind of cuts in and out a little bit there. I need to...
Oh yeah, there's just those like abrupt stops where there was a little segmentation. No,
Yeah, that's just me not editing, really.
it was fine. It did not distract from my enjoyment of that summary.
Well, your enjoyment is my aim.
This was an amazing episode with so many things in it that I would love to talk about. But first, let's do our favorite lines from this episode. So I have not put my name by them, but those top two ones are mine. So I'm going to start with one of these here. This is from Faith to Buffy. You boinked the undead. What's that like? Love that. I love the Faith Buffy.
That one. Was that when they were walking and she was naming her ex-boyfriends? And
Yeah, that's that scene, yeah.
It's their, talking about their exes talk.
Stacy, can you try one of yours?
Every new relationship.
Okay, I think Willow is adorable. And when she says, Giles, no one's doing the I statements. I really like that. I had a bunch. I wrote down a bunch of quotes.
Dennis, did you have any?
I have, I think this is from Buffy. It's another Tuesday night in Sunnydale. Just, them being aware that they're on a show that airs on Tuesdays.
Oh, that's more meta than I thought that was. That's cool. John?
I'm going to steal one that Stacy has written up here. Sorry, Stacy. This bit where Xander says, as long as she and Angel don't get pelvic again. This is one of the grossest ways to describe sex I've ever heard.
Yes.
The
I
way
had to
this
go back
show...
and listen. I went back and to find it because I'm like, I watched the whole episode again. I'm like, I know someone said that. It was right.
Can I just say, though, that high school students who haven't had sex describe sex in the grossest way possible? Like, I feel like my descriptions of sex to my friends before I had sex were insane. I feel like getting pelvic was one of those terrible ones. I never said that, but...
You would have, though. That would have been in
it's
character.
like the word sex, but we'll just create all these other words to avoid saying sex, I guess. They're just like, I say sex.
And this one's a little bit darker, but came later, which I love, though. You have no respect for me or the job I perform, from Giles.
Great moment. We need to talk about that moment. That moment's amazing.
Just gutting.
Yeah.
And he just called it out, and I was so happy when that happened. Stacy, do you have another one?
Oh, I had the Mary Poppins one. Just Faith's like, excuse me, Mary Poppins? I thought that was cool.
Sorry I stole your best one, Stacy.
That's all right. I know, you took my funny one.
I'm going to actually give Xander a lot. Like, I very rarely do we, give Xander a good line, but I think he got two this episode. But he goes, hey, you're not the watcher of me. That phrasing.
Yeah.
Giles looked so pissed when he said that, too. That's great.
Giles is not having it this episode. He's just he is not having it.
Well, poor guy.
I mean, it's kind of lame.
By the way, I hope my audio is okay. The thing I used last week sounded really terrible when I listened back to the recordings, so sorry about that. So I just switched to a regular one. I didn't have time to go out and buy better speakers, or better. So
no, it sounds great.
You actually sound okay, Dennis.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
I had one other quote. When Angel shows her the glove, which is not a glove, and she says, "Nice gift rack. Remind me not to shop there." Did you guys catch that?
Yeah.
Yes, that was excellent. Yes.
I like that one.
All right, great lines we're through with the great lines. We're into the weird noticings and trivia, which is usually most of this show.
Yeah.
It's where we discuss this episode and what's going on in it. So, John, you had the first noticing here about the bronze cups.
So everybody's drinking out of red Solo cups at the bronze. This is, it's almost passé to notice that the bronze is a kind of establishment that does not exist, that is both a bar and not a bar. But I just want to know what they're drinking. That's all. Because it's like a plot point that like they're sharing drinks and.
I went through the episode looking for bronze cups. Cups made of bronze. I was like, why does he need bronze cups? What is he talking about?
Are they drinking they're drinking what comes in a bronze cup? A mule?
Moscow
Oh,
mule.
yeah.
Moscow
Copper.
mule. There you
Become a copper, don't
Wait.
they?
Okay.
go. Copper. Yeah.
I think you nailed it, John, where it's like the bronze's solo cups, like what they're drinking, it is neither a bar and a bar. They don't serve alcohol, but they could serve alcohol. Like,
right.
Like the show runners, whoever, they want it to present it like it's a bar. And like they maybe are not sure how to create the teen friendly version of this experience.
Yeah. I think they want people like teenagers watching the show to want to go to the bronze, right? They're
Right.
Oh, they're cool.
Oh man.
Because Saved by the Bell
They're good.
kids, they had a diner, right?
Yeah.
They were in high school.
Yeah. I think. I think
But it
if
was
there's
not a bar.
there would be something missing if Buffy and the gang were like sucking down chili dogs at the Tasty Freeze, right? Like it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Well,
It
would
wouldn't
be
read
way
the same.
too pushing close to Archie, right? Which the show is.
Yeah.
Already has Betty and Veronica, so like, and it's got both Archie and Xander. I mean, Archie and Jughead and Xander. So like, it's got to like step away from the Archie thing a little bit.
So, Stacey, you have the next comment, but before you
It's
talk
not a thing.
about Seth Green
Yeah.
for a second, I didn't ask you, like, when did you first start watching the show? And you've seen the whole show, right?
I think I've seen at least more than I've seen the majority of everything. But I don't remember Seth Green. Seth Green popped up on the screen the first shot of the episode, and I was like, I just totally forgot that he was on the show.
So you're a little bit
No
coming
line.
into
He
this
had no
like
line. Yeah.
not totally knowing, not
didn't
totally
go
fresh
back.
with everything that's going on with the arc.
Yeah,
That's
so
okay.
I'm gonna go back and catch up because now I'm inspired. I just know that when I watched it when I was in high school, it inspired me to like I got really into the vampire game. Do you remember? It was like D&D but vampires.
Vampire the Masquerade, is that what
Yes.
we're talking about? Yeah.
Yes. I almost went and found the book. I think I still have it. But it was because of like the Buffy show. And then there were some other movies I think at that time. Seth Green just threw me off. I was like, I totally forgot.
What's the like live action role playing version of Vampire? Did you get into that? You know what I'm talking about? It was something of the mind.
That is it.
That's great.
Yeah, that's the game. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, it is live action.
It's like D&D. Yeah, it was like a role playing game.
Do you mean like LARPing, Mike?
Yeah, like LARPing, right?
Yeah, Vampire the Masquerade is a LARP, isn't it?
I think so. There was a book that gave you all the information, like all the characters and everything. I don't remember. It wasn't like D&D. You're right. There was no dice.
Oh.
It was
so
live action role play.
So the next comment you have is very similar in like it's been a while. You're talking about how Xander is like another character that you noticed.
Have you guys talked about this at all? Has this not struck you that the first scene of him, I was like, it's Chandler. He did something and said something in the very first scene. I was like, it's Chandler Bing.
I tried to start a conspiracy about Xander and Chandler being the same actor, but Nicholas Brendan played them both, but it hasn't really picked up.
I don't think they look that much alike. At all.
It's the delivery and the mannerisms, and he had a line, and he did the Chandler like move, and it was Chandler. I'm with you, Mike. I don't know.
John, do you want to talk about the Buffy Faith /
Well, it's just like they're almost teasing us with it now at this point, where they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go on a date together." Just kidding, we're friends. And they're like, at this point, they're just rubbing it in our faces.
Yeah. No, I mean, they're very blatant about it in this episode, and I think the whole arc of this episode is a lot. I mean, there's a lot of things going on in this episode, but like it's about Buffy and Faith's damaged relationship from Angel showing up, right? So, I mean, it's the subtext is rapidly becoming the text here.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I had this next noticing here about there's that opening fight scene where Faith and Buffy are fighting, and like Giles is like drinking a coffee in a cutaway shot. And for me, I laughed out loud. I was like, this would have been perfect for like a Maxwell moment, like funny video ad. Anyway, if someone can rip this scene for me, that'd be great. I would love to make a dumb coffee ad out of that. Just get in the music and like, oh, a Maxwell moment. Just do a British impersonation of the voiceover, and that'd be great.
I like that entire scene because it's the scene that we get Buffy and Faith fighting, and like it introduces the new Watcher Gwendolyn, and the entire time Giles is there, he never says a word the entire scene. He's just giving like everybody sass. He's just like
sipping his tea.
Yeah.
That's a lovely noticing. Stacy, you were talking about what Faith is up to during that scene.
It just stuck out to me that she kept going doop doop over that stone bench, and then doop doop back over the stone bench. It was like step aerobics. I was like, what is she doing? Was that necessary? No, probably not. So I thought when Gwendolyn came in, she was like, your fighting's crap. I was like, I kind of agree.
Another supercut video or cut that needs to exist is the Angel in his lair exercising, because there's enough now that you could create a short exercise film from it.
Oh, that's a great idea.
But man, Buffy and Angel Tai Chi. Oh, wow. So great.
It'll be to the song of Let's Get Physical, but it'll be like, don't get physical.
Don't get pelvic.
Whereas I had a thing in here, I don't know what I did with it, that was such a ripoff of Ghost, like for a second.
Oh yeah,
right. Where he's like, they were about to make pottery or something. I don't know. The sexy Tai Chi was ridiculous.
Yeah. He like Angel wears a shirt so far in this season like 5% of the time.
This is. I have that in a note. He finally puts on a shirt this episode.
Yeah, but he also like takes it right back off to do Tai Chi.
It's the first time he puts a shirt on the entire season.
When he has a shirt on, he looks oddly hunchbacked. Did you notice that?
No, that's interesting.
In this episode, he turns away from. I don't know. He's got the black shirt on. He's got the black shirt on. Yeah, and he's like there's going to be something that comes out of his back. I was like, what's wrong with him?
He's got a Quato back there we don't know about.
Yeah. Where did he get those digs? I mean, his place is pretty cool. He's living in
This is the vampire mansion that we keep thinking is a cave, but now like I feel like Angel's put his own like angel touch on it. Like there's like a weird statue and it's got mood lighting now, which it didn't have that last episode, did it, Dennis?
He had like an IKEA couch too. Did you notice that? It was like
Yeah, it's got more decorations now. At the midpoint around of season 2, after the factory burns down, Angel, Spike, and Drew moved in here.
But like after he comes back from the hell dimension, his like priorities are like, okay, pants, distant second, shirt, and then like right after that is like mood lighting, statue, couch. Like
I really hope I can find that old Chinese statue I've been carrying around for.
Yeah.
That's again another lovely weird thing would be like a list of like Angel's to-do list. Like, from hell. Speaking of Angel in Hell, as I was watching the Tai Chi scene, I was thinking to myself, okay, this relationship is happening. He's already like way older. He's like from the 17th century, right? Like 18th century, whatever it is, Ireland. And then you got to add an additional 500 years for being in hell, right? So like, how old is he now? Now he's like almost 800 years old.
Age ain't nothing but a number, Mike.
And he's trying to Buffy has aged a year, so she's 17. So for the 500 Angel years, she was 3 months basically.
Well, at some point I did the math on like what age it would be appropriate for Buffy and Angel to start dating. Yeah, we have to like completely recalculate it now. Yeah, we don't even know how long he was in the hell dimension. It's like,
well, didn't we say?
Yeah, they never really. Really
it's just sort of hundreds. They don't. Yeah.
Oh,
unknown. Because they don't know. Like I have a question about the hell dimension. Because like, we're kind of given to understand that the hell dimension is something like the hell dimension we saw with the hell factory, where there's just like anvils and stuff. But this time with Angel, they don't talk about it, which kind of makes it seem like it's undescribable. But the other hell dimension we saw was pretty describable. I don't know.
Well, also the other hell dimension was a rate of 1 day is 100 years. So I'm assuming that his hell dimension wasn't that much, because then he would have been in hell for like thousands of years.
Maybe he was.
Like,
So we don't know how long he's been in hell.
Yeah. I mean,
His skin looks great.
Yeah.
How much longer it is?
it's like,
I don't know.
it's like the length of the Roman Empire, give or take 500 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, next thing here, apparently we need to talk about this beanie that Buffy is wearing. Both Stacy and John, you've called out this beanie. Can you please describe this beanie?
You didn't see it?
No,
you didn't see it?
I totally write it down here, but I drew it in my notebook.
Oh,
I drew
can I see? No, I can't see. The answer is no.
Nice notes, Mike.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean,
A lot
it's
of
not
drawing.
significant. I just drew beanie that said bomb on it, and then said glitter beanie, but I didn't like take the time. I didn't get enough time with it.
I kind of think it's funny that it should have been all caps. It was not all caps. It should have been all caps bomb, but it's not. It's sentence cape.
My kind of question is, like, I feel like there's two explanations of this. Is that, like, one is like that bomb is some kind of a fashion brand in the 90s that I just don't remember. And then the other option is that it says bomb in reference to an actual bomb, which is like, she's like Judah Friedlander in 30 Rock, just like writing shit on her hat to like, as a non sequitur. Like, I don't understand why this hat makes sense.
I think it's because she's the bomb.
But it doesn't say the bomb. It says bomb. It's weird.
No, it would have said the bomb. Not the. It is weird. And again, I watched the episode twice because I had to take some notes. And the second time around, it stood out to me more the second time around.
Well, it's like Forever 21 is appropriating gangster culture in some way, but then it's also like pre 9/11 terrorist, like, relationship. Like, it's a glitter bomb. It's like kind of got like a sequin look to it and just says bomb. I mean, it's inappropriate and it's weird to wear, so it stands out.
Because Google something. I think I'm gonna have to Google. Can I Google? Is that a thing?
That's allowed.
Yeah, normally John does the Googling, but it's okay.
Okay.
Well, I stole your line, so you can do some Googling.
Okay. Well, I mean, because I'm thinking, no, that's 1982. You dropped a bomb on me, the Gap band.
Oh, yeah. Although Collective Soul did cover that in the 90s.
I think we're probably putting too much emphasis on the hat, but it was really cool.
Yeah, that hat steals the scene. That's for sure.
Then it's bad. It's like a bad choice wardrobe wise because it's also distracting.
Because she wore it when she was fighting, but she also wore it while they were like she was pouting.
Yes.
And the post woman, Gwendolyn. Her voice drove me crazy. I couldn't handle her at all. I don't know if it bothered anybody else, but her voice
I like her.
Terrible. Oh. No.
I was only bothered. Well, we'll get to what bothered me about her later.
Okay.
But Dennis, yep. John, you're
that was
saying.
The next thing, yeah.
John, you want to talk about how the cemetery situation works?
Okay, so they mentioned that Sunnydale has 12 cemeteries, right? Yeah. And in a previous episode, they give the population for Sunnydale. So I worked out that works out to one cemetery for every 3,208 residents of Sunnydale. All right. Now that is high, right? As a point of comparison, Dayton, Ohio, where most of us are from or have lived, has one cemetery for every 9,366 residents. So that's 3 times the per capita population of cemeteries in Sunnydale versus Dayton. But Sunnydale is not the most cemeteried city in the United States by a long shot because Colma, California has, which is, there's a weird historical reasons for this, but has one cemetery for every 119 residents. There's 15 cemeteries there, and there's only like 1,500 people. So
is that the town in California that everyone who lives in San Francisco gets buried in?
Yes, I think so. It's near San Francisco, and there's like some weird thing where like they started a bunch of cemeteries there, like during the gold rush, and then I guess it's the cemetery town.
You you can't get buried in San Francisco, so everybody who like lives in San Francisco gets buried in Colma.
So
It's been for some reason it's like one of those trivia things that comes up on the news like way too often. I've heard it like 5 times.
yeah, it's apparently a thing. So
John, thank you for doing that research, because it did seem insane when Giles said like, oh, there's 12 places that this could be at, where this glove could be or wherever Legos could be going. And it's just like, that seems like a ton.
Yeah, but it's not completely crazy. Like, it's only 3 times more than Dayton, right? Like, so, I mean, Dayton's not a huge city. Dayton has 15 cemeteries.
Yeah, but most cemeteries probably aren't currently active. There would be like historical cemeteries.
Yeah, but I'm assuming that's true about Sunnydale too. Although maybe not.
Sunnydale, they're just packing people in every cemetery. Like that's.
I mean, because I remember, you travel in like Europe or stuff, and like you'll see cemeteries that like they packed them in. Like it's an unbelievable number of people in each like one of these little tombs. Ditto in like New Orleans and stuff. It's just like the cemetery density, like the density of number of bodies or people, units of humans that are contained within it are pretty crazy because they get cremated or they're stacked on top of each other somehow. Like,
did you go to the Bone Church, Mike? You talking about the Bone Church?
That's one of the churches that I'm thinking about. Yeah.
In Prague, or outside of Prague, there's a Bone Church where the blind monk came and dug up all the bones and built stuff out of them. It was on Ripley's Believe It or Not. I went there.
Yeah, I have a bunch of photos from it when a friend visited it. She took like hundreds of photos.
There's like a chandelier. Yeah, there's like a chandelier made out of bones.
There's another one in Rome, the Capuchin monks, where the term cappuccino comes from. They have a church where all the monks are buried in, and they make bone art with them. It's kind of interesting. But it's more like they've got it's almost like religious themed bone art. So it's like people are decorated and tell you different messages about how little time you have on this planet. Super dark.
While drinking cappuccino?
That's just down the street. You get a cappuccino. Someone saw the Capuchin monk and they had that monk style thing where the hair is gone. And he's like, oh, like a cappuccino, like a latte. What is that thing? And then, some Italian racist thing that I just did. But then cappuccino. Cool. Yeah, that's interesting, but it doesn't account for density is what I meant to say. So like if you're a data scientist, I'd be wary of endorsing John's theory without like a little bit digging into the density.
Yeah, that's true. The Sunnydale cemeteries don't seem overly packed. I mean, they got those large mausoleums in most of them.
Yeah, there seems like there's room.
And I say endorsing John's theory. John's theory is it's actually just a little bit above average, which is a totally normal and reasonable thing to say.
Well, I put more research into it than you have.
Yeah, totally.
Which is about 5 minutes with a calculator in Google.
So moving on here to the like weird requests that Gwendolyn has when she comes in. She's like, hey, I need some books. And she starts listing all these books that Giles doesn't have, and it drives him crazy. They clearly need an internet. They need to take advantage of the internet. Like, as much as Giles is like so reluctant to accept this world, like they need it because there's this dearth of books that they're missing out on. Anyway, that made me crazy because I was like, this is an easily solvable problem.
Yeah, but you know what happens when you start scanning in these kinds of books, Mike.
But you're right.
It's not like they haven't tried this.
When you scan a spell, that's as much as saying it.
It's not part of the Google Books project, right?
Well, I was actually thinking, that was a little later.
I don't think the Watchers Council even has emails. Like, I bet they don't have. I bet Giles doesn't have like a rgiles@watchers.net.
Well, I mean, we know that Giles is missing memos. We know that, right?
Right, because Gwendolyn was rejected from the council years previous.
So if they're doing all of that through
that at the end, yeah,
they're doing all that through the post.
Like a fax or
through
the post.
He missed his owl. I don't know. That was bad.
John, you have the next noticing here about
Lagos looks like a Nausicaan. Excuse me. He looks like a Nausicaan, which is just for my Star Trek peeps.
Yeah, good job, John. Good job pulling that out. I was going to describe Lagos as looking like Bebop, but like a Nausicaan is way better.
And for being like a main character of the episode, he got no love. Like,
yeah, he's like it's barely clear that that's Lagos. Like he's just a demon.
I thought it was like somebody from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Like
turned around the first
slayers, you talk and you talk, but you have no granja.
You man, play Damjat. I would like to point out that is the second time on this podcast that Dennis and I have done that exchange of impressions.
Oh man, I follow Arvin Shimmerman on Twitter, and the other day, somebody tweeted at him about the rules of acquisition, and his tweet back was like, "Of course I have them memorized, but I can't recite them because I'm only a human."
I really kind of wonder, this is a total side thing, but like I really wonder if with the new Star Trek that when actors sign up to be Star Trek actors, if like the previous Star Trek actors like sit them down and like, listen, you're signing up for a whole lifetime of this shit. Make sure you know what you're getting into.
John, that's a brilliant sketch idea because I feel like it would be kind of like how in the Peace Corps, when you join the Peace Corps, they actually, when you could fly out to a country, like I know this because one of my coworkers was a Peace Corps member in Guyana. Like you meet with the people who are just leaving, and they tell you all the local shit that you need to know to understand how to survive, and also customs that you don't get in a tour guide. Right? It's like really specific. That'd be brilliant. Be like, oh, you're going to be the captain. Okay, you need to talk to Kirk. You got to. And the other captains.
At least 3 of these actors have been on like big franchise type things before, so they're probably like because Doug Jones was Abe Sapien. What's her name is in Walking Dead, and then the captain is in Harry Potter. So like they're already kind of like,
no, that's
this
true.
is already their lives.
But Star Trek is like Star Trek. I don't know. Yeah, no, you're right.
Let's see. John just did an impression of a character that I'm not for reasons I'm unclear on. Yeah. So obviously, the people who watch the show are traumatized for life. And so they have to understand the trauma they're unleashing on these people. Like, hey, as a Star Trek actor, you're going to traumatize people, and you'll see them, and they'll do these strange things, like this, for instance. That's because
remember that line you said one time 20 years ago? We're going to repeat it to you for the rest of your life.
Okay, I'm sorry. We can get off of Star Trek. I'm sorry.
PTSD, post-traumatic Star Trek disorder. I'm gonna name it. Okay, let's move on here. Dennis, you talked about the glove is kind of like the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, it looked like, it also looked like Hellboy's red right hand. But I don't know. I think it was purposely designed to look kind of maybe like the Infinity Gauntlet, which at the time would have been like an obscure visual reference to make, but stupid superhero movies are everywhere now. So like that just got me thinking down the road of like everything that like used to be like an obscure superhero reference is now like really common, and how weird that is. Like the other day I saw like a cool looking teenager wearing a Star Labs shirt, and I was like, nobody, like that's like the DC Universe like superhuman lab. And it's just like nobody would have, no cool kid would have worn that shirt when I was in high school. Like, first of all, nobody would have even noticed it. But like, I don't know. You just wouldn't have that many. Superheroes are cool. That's my point.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was at Target just yesterday, and like there were all these amazing vintage looking like Thor and like the Avengers shirts that like, by the way, would have made you look like a total nerd in high school. Like beyond the pale. Like if you wore that, you would have been branded forever. But like they still looked cool. But it's like, Target $15 or $8 if if you're a baby. I'm like, wow, it's the times have changed so much. And like, your obscure DC shirt is like, that's cool because DC is so terrible, and like so much less fun. It's like, I like DC because it's less mainstream and their movies are shit. I haven't seen Justice League yet, but anyway, I'm assuming.
I haven't either, but it sounds like it's not getting a lot of love.
John, you want to talk
about the whole Joss Whedon reference though there, right? Because he had to take over for the
he did reshoots.
Director.
Oh,
so it's like a hot mess of different directors.
Yeah, it also one of the things I guess one of the big deals about the reshoots is that Henry Cavill had a mustache. So they just decided to CG his mustache away. Surprise, surprise! People could tell.
Fuck.
Because when he moves his head, it stays over here. I don't know.
It's.
Oh yeah, one more Gauntlet reference.
We'll fix it in post. We'll fix it in post.
I thought about the Shredder too. The Shredder had these kind of gauntlets, and like the Ninja Turtles would have come out by then, and it looked a little bit. Also,
the spiky fingers, like he had like that glove had some claws, you know.
It also had a bit of a Power Glove vibe. I don't know. They had a lot of like references in that thing that I saw because it had that plate on it that looked like kind of like the Power Glove, like that weird plate on it. But
yeah, I didn't think Power Glove, but yeah, and it's kind of got Mjolnir's power, the power of lightning.
I can't. Are there any gloves in your books? Do you have Power Gloves?
I have a character named Furiosa Frankenstein, who is a ripoff of Furiosa and the Bride of Frankenstein, who has a robot arm. It's good for punching.
John, you have a random quote in here.
I'm sorry, I should have put this in great lines apparently, but Xander talks about about Buffy giving Angel a happy, which is equal, I think, with getting pelvic as a really gross euphemism for
you had no reason to steal my
I don't know why I stole it. I'm sorry. Give him a happy. That's really gross.
Yeah. Give him a happy.
No one should ever describe sex that way.
There's some really gross sex descriptions in this episode.
Yeah.
Because there's boring, which isn't that bad, but it's I don't know. Just for as edgy a character Faith is, that hers is like the friendliest. Boinked.
Yeah.
You know?
Although she did also come up with kicking the gear shift and horsing around, and
you know what? This would be another great cut. It would be us doing a special show where we just talk about weird euphemism and we build it up, and then we just play the moment from the video where it's said, because these are all so tiny throwaway lines, but like the weirdness of them is profound. Like that would be a great.
Buffy describes sex is the
Buffy and sex, and we just get 100,000 views, and we just like talk about them and then play the clips. Little clip show. I'm writing that down to do that later for sex euphemisms. So the next one here, I'm not sure why Angel has this glove. Did that get discussed?
That's what I wondered. I was going to write that down too. I had the same question. He just happens to have it.
No, Buffy tells him about the blah 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 of Minigon, and he kind of I think he just puts it together. He figures out where it is because all Giles did was look it up in a book, and so Angel did it on his own. He went to get it.
And it just happens to be in Sunnydale, or he goes to another dimension.
The whole reason all of this is happening is because the glove happens to be in Sunnydale.
In Sunnydale.
It's in a particular crypt that apparently Xander has the location memorized, so it's not like an obscure location. And he just like remembers like where it is. He just goes, I'm fine with it. I don't have a problem with it at all.
Yeah, I think it was Angel just trying to be helpful. That's how Xander finds out Angel's alive. And I originally in my notes was writing like Xander's the worst person to find out Angel's alive, but then I was like, I think everybody's the worst person to find out Angel's alive because nobody likes him.
Except for Willow. Willow's like, it's cold. You were scared.
Yeah, but that's only because she has the exact same emotion. It's so obvious.
Yeah, I like how Willow's able to do that, but like Xander is completely not. Like Xander's like, how do you just accidentally make out? It's like, isn't that the issue you're dealing with?
Who was it that had the line that was it Xander that said you accidentally fell into his face? That was another good
one. John, do you want to talk about the Marathon Man?
I just thought, like, since Giles goes out of his way to point out that he's a torture victim in this episode, and they immediately make a reference to, true, but then, like, still, it seems shitty that we're calling him the Marathon Man after he's pointed out his torture experience.
It's the emotional Marathon Man.
Is it safe? Is it safe? I didn't watch the movie until a few years ago. It's good.
That could be one of our recommendations.
Oh, because of this reference?
Yeah.
Well, it is now. Dennis, you have a comment here about Willow when she comes to like her revelation.
Right. Yeah, Willow's about to tell Buffy about the Xander makeout, but then because of the fight, she doesn't. And she says she opened up the SAT book early. Do you think she really? I don't. I feel like she was lying. I don't think Willow really did that.
That was a lie. Definitely a lie.
2 truths and a lie.
Because somebody's going to notice that they opened it 5 minutes early.
Yeah, that sounds, yeah.
If she said 30 seconds early, it would be plausible.
Like everybody else in the room is like just staring at their closed book, and she just...
Yeah, for 5 minutes. Yeah.
It's not worth it. Dennis, you've got the next thing here about fight choreography.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I thought the fight with Lagos, both fights with Lagos, Faith's and Buffy's, were pretty good. You know, they, like, that dude was really huge, and they used his size, like, well. And Buffy chopping off his head was pretty dope. Mm-hmm. So I just think, you know, this show's come a long way with its fighting compared to, like, some of its season 1 messiness.
Having dipped right into it, I'm not there yet. Yeah.
Well, I loved it because the Lagos thing, if that's Lagos and she just knocks his head off and then goes right back to her conversation, I just love like where she's at in this fighting thing. Like fucking decapitate someone and then go like, hey, you're about to share
as you were
something
saying.
important.
Yeah.
As you were saying.
As you were saying.
I've never
Sorry about
decapitated anybody, and I imagine that would be so traumatizing. I would like, I don't know what would happen. But I mean, there's some Game of Thrones shit that's treated very lightly, and it's amazing. What were you saying, Mr. Stock? Yes, you got a bunch here. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, when Faith and Xander team up, it's like the worst.
That is the worst. They are awful. I totally agree with that.
Reminds me of, I used to play Call of Cthulhu, and I had my friend Chris Warren. Him and I had the worst friendship in that game, where we would encourage each other in really bad ways. Like, so he'd be like, "Well, what if we just like light some dynamite?" And like everybody else in the group would be like, "No, because we're going to fail that roll and die, and it's really dangerous." And I'm like, "Well, what if we light a bunch of dynamite?" You know, it was like we would just encourage each other in bad ways. So it'd be like, "It's like you should stick your hole into that interdimensional thing." Yeah, all right, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to like, are you sure you want to stick your hole into the dimensional portal? Yeah, I need to do this. Like, you're dead. You died. Damn it. That's what that Faith Xander relationship reminded me of. Like,
yeah, zero backbone. Xander has zero decision-making capability of his own whatsoever. He's
Xander
like,
is just the worst.
Let's attack.
Therefore, all of his friendships are also the worst.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the idea of like Xander angrily playing pool is like dumb. Like,
I just want to shoot. Guys.
It really is. Yeah. It really is. And he's all like feeling sorry for himself and considering himself as he broods. Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah, angry pool is weird. Like, you think angry boxing or like angry running or something, you know.
Like, playing angry pool is only going to get you more angry because you're not going to have the calmness it takes to make a shot.
Right.
Maybe that's why he's doing it.
Yeah. And so then they go and they grab the weapons, and Faith's choice of weapons is like straight up psychotic because it's like.
Why is that in the library? Yeah, it's like a meat hook.
Like, is not good for killing. That is not good for killing vampires. That's only good for like rending flesh. Like,
I'm not even sure it's good for that. Like, it's just mean. Like, it's just a mean weapon. It's like, and I also like. Okay,
what was it? It was
attack
like
a vampire.
Or something? What was it?
Yeah, it was a bat that had like a fishing hook.
Yeah.
It's like a meat hook. It's like a big, like you would use to hang up a big piece of meat. And like it's like
Xander has a crossbow or something, didn't he?
Yeah, I get Xander in the crossbow because he doesn't know what he's doing, and so he wants the ranged weapon. He wants to stand back. That makes sense. But like,
that makes sense.
But
Faith is like, I don't want to kill Angel. I want to
kill pieces of him off. Like,
yeah. And like, you haven't even really met Angel yet. Like, that level of hatred for your girlfriend's ex-boyfriend is insane.
Yes. Well, I'm going to attack a vampire, so I get a wooden weapon first. But then I'm going to put a metal hook on the end of it.
Well, look, she can't control herself because she's jealous because she and Buffy are a thing. Duh, right?
Yeah, that's clearly it.
Xander is cowardly.
They're both just jealous. That's what it is, the two of them. That's what it is. Dennis,
Buffy, because Buffy is the bomb,
Yeah.
as we know from the hats.
The bomb.
Yeah.
Dennis, I love this next noticing here because I have a prediction related to it because of it happening again.
Giles gets knocked out again, which
I really wanted Travis to be on here so he could talk about repeated head injury.
Yeah, no, yeah. I want to make a prediction about repeated head injury for Giles, but yeah.
I mean, this one at least treats it seriously. Usually he's like just unconscious for a bit, but this one, like, we should call the hospital. Like, you could die from this kind of like brutal head injury. So it's a little different from the usual Giles getting knocked out, but man, poor Giles. And then I say 4-way fight of misunderstanding is pretty good. I just like I mean, it's just good writing to like be able to set up a crazy fight like that where like nobody knows, like except for Gwendolyn, nobody else knows what's going on. Well, even Gwen doesn't know that Angel is a vampire at first. Like, just the way that's structured, how people come in at different times and stuff. Like,
yeah, because that should have killed you if you were a human.
Yeah, I like that.
I forgot how ugly he is when he's not ugly. Like when he stands up after getting hit in the head, it's like, whoa.
Oh, in vampire mode?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Vampire face?
Yeah.
You thought I was beautiful once.
Yeah, he's like, it's like the Klingon almost.
There's a little Klingon.
Yeah. Klingon. Is it Klingon? I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Please reference Star Trek more. People don't know about
Star Trek.
Star Trek show.
Trying to be cool. Yeah.
All the cool kids love Star Trek.
We started watching all like from the very beginning. Which one is it? Star Trek. What's the first one?
Star Trek.
Okay, Star Trek. from the very beginning. Because there's been like a bunch of iterations of it. I'm not all that up on it, but my daughter has been watching it for a couple years now. And they were watching every episode, from the start.
Those old ones are not all hits.
No.
Well, neither of the new ones, but
I don't know. I feel like the original series
Mike
always stands out more.
Mike and I got to see LeVar Burton, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool.
That was really cool. I thought that was inspiring.
Confusing. I thought it was a little confusing myself.
Well, it was kind of like, so, I mean, total aside to talk about a random conference we attended together that had LeVar Burton. However, it was kind of like, it was a conference for, higher ed education people. And it's kind of like an insert guest speaker moment where it's like, hey, these people have all done TED Talks. They'll just do their TED Talk. And it doesn't matter if it directly applies to these people. It's just everyone loves TED Talks. So here you go. It was kind of that vibe.
Yeah, it was a little strange. I think LeVar didn't know exactly who he was talking to. It was like 4 speeches in one.
I like that he forced everybody to watch that moment from Roots where his character loses his slave name loses his African name and gains his slave name. That was great. Great moment to share with a room full of
super uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's great.
Anyway, LeVar Burton, Star Trek, back to...
Yeah, let's come back. So Angel Magic makes me lol. When
that was pretty good.
Angel performing magic to create the living flame. That was so funny. I don't know why. I think just it's hard to do this right now. And so like I want to see way more Angel magic. And if the Angel show is Angel doing magic, I'm so in. It was great.
I also I think they say like the spell for living flame is complicated and stuff, and then his he's not measuring things out; he's just weighing things in his hand.
I mean, he's got hundreds of years of experience potentially.
Yeah, what did they have him do in hell? Who knows? Probably create the flame.
With. Maybe he had I guess we never considered this. Maybe in hell he had a job. Maybe he wasn't just they're like, you're going to be our magic spell guy,
and he's like, ugh.
John, you have translations of these spells. Can you please?
I saw that.
Yeah, so I cannot at all take credit for this, but Hackatry, who is a user of the Buffy wiki, posted the translation of the spells. So Angel spell is in Latin, and it translates as "Arise, flame of life, come forth from your place of the elements into this world of the living." That's what he's saying. And I'll go ahead and just, for time's sake, I'll do Gwendolyn later is actually speaking Gaelic. And she says Be mine, the power of Minigon.
I was really hoping when I read that, I'm like, oh, translation. I was really hoping it was going to say something like, "The princess is in the castle, Mario. Hurry!" I don't know.
What's the Latin for Mario?
Yeah, I think so far all the spells have taken themselves very seriously. They have not created silly spells, as far as I can tell. They've all been very literal. So, Dennis, I'm sorry. You guys, let's talk about this lightning glove. Dennis, I love it. It sounds like a poll that you want to run here.
Yeah, what do you guys think? Cool or lame?
For lightning glove?
Here's my arguments for it and against it. I think the lightning effect is actually pretty good. Like, they do a good job with the lightning effect.
Okay.
The way it clamps on the hand is pretty, awesome.
There should have been blood. There should have been blood.
There should have been blood, yeah.
I mean, those were serious clamps.
They were. They're like, all right, this really is.
There was blood when they came off. There was
serious.
blood left over,
Because Buffy cut her arm off?
No, like where the little clamps
on
came
the
off.
clamps,
There was a little bit of blood, but they should have gone in deeper. I agree.
Yeah.
Here's why it's lame. If you have a magic gauntlet, why do you still need to say spell? And you have to say that spell every single time you shoot the lightning?
Yeah. I agree.
I just think it's too much buildup for just lightning. I just felt like there was always it's unlimited power, and it's like, oh, it's a Tesla coil. I just feel like we need
that didn't remind you guys of Ghostbusters at all. That's the first thing.
Ghostbusters 2?
The one with Gozer. It was they're up in the tower.
Ghostbusters.
And lightning everywhere.
Yeah.
If you look up the picture, that's exactly what it reminded me of. And not as big a deal, but that's what it reminded me of.
It just reminded me of the generic lightning magic in Skyrim, or there's this just a lightning spell, whatever that you can cast. It kind of reminded me of that, but you don't have to yell anything when you do it. Just press a button and depletes your magic supply.
I just feel like yelling it defeats the purpose of I don't know. It gives people enough time to run away.
Faith draw her fire. Did you guys notice? Faith runs through the room, gets zapped. She lights up. We see her skeleton, kind of, but she's okay. Did you notice that?
She's a slayer. What's the episode? What's the name of the episode with the demon from the internet? Buffy gets electrocuted.
Yeah.
You know that Slayers.
I Robot You, Jane.
Yeah, but what's the name of the demon?
Oh, the demon is he's called Malcolm in the internet, so he's like Melikor the Corruptor.
Nice,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You win.
Man, I'm gonna lose this Buffy trivia contest. I thought I'd be great at. Shit.
I win, but I'm a loser, right?
It's a pretty cool glove, but it's not worth the sacrifices that that Gwendolyn makes to get it, right?
Just be able to zap. That's what I was saying. You put that glove on, that's a really serious life decision you've made that you're never going back on. You gotta really you're 100% committed to this being your power and never putting a shirt on comfortably ever again.
I mean, did we learn nothing from Edward Scissorhands?
I just want to say this is a general trope in movies, though. When you brandish the ultimate weapon, whatever it may be, if it's a glove that shoots lightning or whatever it is, I'd say the first 90 seconds of you wearing that weapon are really key, and that maybe you shouldn't use it fucking immediately, and maybe take a minute to learn how it works before you start brandishing it. Just like a general word. I use a lot of different camera equipment. I definitely test it, but me with you, it's not the first time. If I did, that's a fuck up. So just a lesson for villains, hey, maybe the time that you steal the ultimate weapon, maybe practice with it a little bit first. Figure out how it works.
Take it home.
Yeah, just, I don't know.
Read the manual.
Spend some time in the forums.
Put it on. The Slayers surround her and stuff, and she's like, time out. I need to learn how this works first.
Hold on.
I'm going to go home. We'll meet up here again tomorrow, okay?
Or she could just run away. I mean, she doesn't have to gloat and speak Gaelic.
I don't know. That glove's kind of clunky. It might weigh her down. I don't think she can move very fast with that on.
Sorry, I'm a maniac. I need to destroy my enemies. That's my number one priority. So,
did anybody notice the major? Lightning up, glass down. It was all in her eyes. Did you see it just hit and bounce off her eyes? I was watching that. I don't know.
There was some rad glass breaking in that scene.
There was some good glass
breaking. Jumping through broken
Yeah.
glass. That's cool.
So also, and the lightning, does it only work if you're above like a sky? Can you not use it indoors?
Should have taken time to read the manual.
I'm not sure I would give up an entire hand for this. I don't know.
Oh, really?
You'd never be able to type again?
Yeah.
Typing
I mean, if you're right-handed, you gotta like shift all your stuff to your left hand.
Yeah.
Can you imagine going to the bathroom?
Going to the bathroom.
Well, she's probably planning on like enslaving people. She can have people wipe for her.
What happens when you're trying to give someone a happy?
Never ask me that question.
It's electric.
You're right. There might be some advantages. I don't know.
I don't know.
That good down low tingle.
Oh, that's going in that section montage for sure.
Okay.
All right, so I guess we've answered this question about who the weird battle axe wielding.
It's Lagos.
Lagos. Yeah. I was like, what are you talking about?
But he just feels like a character out of He-Man, just like a strangely placed. Stacey, you joked to like Pirates of the Caribbean, like totally, just like where is this dude?
Yeah.
John.
And what was he doing in the tomb? Was he looking for the glove or just stealing?
Yeah.
He's looking for the glove.
He's looking for the glove. Yeah.
All right.
He clearly knows the glove is in Sunnydale, but doesn't know its exact location. Because when Faith ran into him, he was just like, "This looks like a good coffin to look through."
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't really get a lot of.
And he had no interest in her. He was like, pushed her down, go back to his bones, pushed her down, and then he left. Like he didn't care.
Yeah.
John, you have an interesting comment here about advice.
This really bothers me. So, like, I actually really like Gwendolyn Post. I think she's a really good character. I feel like I would have liked to have seen more of her. But then, like, for all this like setup about how smart she is, she goes and has this really stupid line that's like, "A word of advice, Faith. You're an idiot," which is like not advice. It's not advice to say you're an idiot.
Don't be an idiot.
Yes, a word of advice. Don't be an idiot. That would have been fine. Yes, or a word of advice. You're an idiot, so maybe stop trying to not be. I don't know. There was something that would be advice. It was really frustrating. That line really bothers me a lot.
Word of advice.
She could have said,
"Y'all
like,
an idiot."
Faith, Buffy's not into you.
There you go. That would have been it.
Yeah. Just to hurt her one more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just being mean. She's meanie.
She had a weird mole. She bothered me.
Dennis, you have some interesting comments here. I'm super curious about the Watcher Council, but you have this other comment first. Sorry.
Buffy kills a human. I mean, she chops the human's arm off with a piece of glass, and then the human electrocutes. But like, there's been a few times this season where Buffy is like participated in the murder of people, right? Which is supposed to be a big no-no. But with the German dudes, right? She lets them shoot each other. She organizes it so they shoot each other. I'm just saying.
So we're sure that Gwendolyn was a human, right? Because I may have seen something in my research that said the Demon Watcher. We're sure she was a human?
Ooh.
I haven't heard anything about her being a demon. Where was that research?
I would have to find it again. I was just looking to make sure that I had the right episode, and so I saw something about brilliant, about time, Demon Watcher, great plot.
I found a fan discussion on this point that was about, whether or not Buffy had really killed her. It's like it's ultimately the lightning that kills her.
Turned to dust and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe she killed herself.
Yeah. I mean, okay. I guess you could argue Buffy chops her arm off, and her plan could be like to rush her immediately to the hospital.
Yeah. Buffy can tie a tourniquet.
Yeah. Okay. All right. If we don't want to count it.
I'm not saying. I don't know.
I'm just saying Buffy doesn't seem to all the time care about not like murdering people. Only when it's like dudes like Ethan Ryan or whatever that she.
Has she killed anyone else? That's a person.
That's a person. Yeah. Well, she definitely killed the members of the Order of Taraka, and some of them were people. It was her, and I think Well, I don't know if that first dude was a human or not. That guy she kills on the ice. They never really reveal what he is.
The weird. That's right. The assassin guy. That's right.
Yeah.
That's not clear. Yeah.
Which guy?
Was a human. The guy who attacks her in What's My Line Part 1. Back in season 2.
Do you remember there's the 3 assassins that go after Buffy? One is like the guy who turns into maggots, and one is like just a dude, it looks like. And he attacks her at the ice skating rink.
Oh, yeah. That's just a dude.
And she kills him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she slits
with
his
the
throat.
ice skating rink.
Yeah,
with the ice skate.
It's a Tanya Harding demon.
We don't know. We don't know for sure that it's a dude. It could be a demon. I mean,
yeah, it's not revealed.
So the show doesn't we like to think the show differentiates between vampires and humans, but at a certain point it doesn't care. And this is the point where it doesn't care is season 2, where it's and then she chops off a girl's arm. She's like, a lady's arm. She's like, yeah, this will work. It is interesting that they don't try and contain her in some way. But I think when they set up the glove, it's like, hey, once it's on, it doesn't come off. It's like, yeah, fuck her. She's dead.
Yeah, she's dead to us.
It's a pretty profound decision, though. You're right. You're right to call it out. Where it's like, cool, gonna kill a human. Also, a member of the Watcher Council that we didn't know yet was a former member. There's a lot of confusion about what Gwendolyn is up to, and at least for me as a viewer. So I was a little surprised by I had to rewind to watch that arm getting cut off because I was like, what did she just do? Because that spoke to me too. That seems like a breaking a law of TV.
Yeah. The TV police will come.
I'd like to see the Mythbusters try that with the glass and see if you could cut someone's arm off like that with a piece of jagged broken window glass.
I would also like to see that. There is no Mythbusters Buffy special.
Should be.
There really should have been. Would have
John,
been really
we need
happy.
to run one. We need to run a Mythbusters Buffy edition.
Yes, please.
I haven't seen enough of that show to know how it works, but yeah, I get it.
I have been.
What?
Can I admit that I have been steadily watching every single episode of Mythbusters.
Yes.
I'm currently in the 2011 season.
Okay.
Oh wow.
It really jumps the shark at a certain point where they just do nothing but explosions at some point.
For a little while, then they kind of come back to theme. I watched some this morning, so
but I am methodically watching it all. I love Mythbusters a lot.
I do too.
Also, talk about a slashy show with unspoken romance.
Right?
They love each other. There's a whole story about how they don't get along offset and all that stuff.
No.
But no. I know what's really going on.
And then they bring Alton Brown on one episode, and it's like
I haven't seen that one yet. I haven't gotten there yet.
Total bromance, 3-way bromance going on. They drive to Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah, sorry, spoilers, but it happens. Happens.
I got really choked up because I watched the one with Barack Obama, and I was like, "Oh my God, we used to have someone we liked, and he cares about science."
Oh,
Such a good show.
Yeah,
Next
it's really.
podcast, Mike, watch Mythbusters.
Oh, I don't know if there is an episode by episode watch of Mythbusters. That may not be. There may be some unmined territory, and
there's some crazy stories about Mythbusters. They put cannonballs through houses, and I forget where.
They did that show for what, 12 years or something. You could do that podcast for a really long time.
Yeah. Life goals.
Yeah, I just assume you could do that for 6 years. You could do that podcast, and then they got that other show Tested, right? So you could totally just be the show.
Tested. I watched that. It's different.
White Rabbit. They did a spinoff with the.
Oh, that's terrible. I watched White Rabbit on Netflix.
It's hit and miss. It's not.
They did one good thing out of 8 episodes. It's terrible.
Yeah.
What's the deal with White Rabbit?
It's the other people. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's the B team from
Tori and I can only remember.
Why would I want to watch that?
Tori and Carrie and Grant. I mean, I actually liked them. I like Grant a lot, and I feel
bad that they're interns for 10 years.
They get paid. Are you kidding me? It's a paid internship.
I mean, earlier on in the show, there was the nice part where they would go off and do something, and then they'd take back what they made to the dads. And Adam and Jamie are the dads of the show, and they would judge what they did. But later it was just totally separate, and that was not as much fun. Sorry, this is a show. This is the podcast about Buffy where we talk about other TV shows.
Yeah, it is sometimes. Dennis, can we talk about the Watcher Council?
Yeah, I say they seem pretty disorganized. I mean, I feel like we've mentioned them.
Typical bureaucracy, right?
I mean, but like this is the second time this season where like just like shit happened because the Watchers Council failed to inform Giles of anything, right? Like, I mean, Faith's Watcher is killed, and like nobody at the Watchers Council tells Giles. You know, I really think they should have. They need like a weekly newsletter to update all the Watchers members. Like, Giles doesn't even know the name of the other Slayer until the other Slayer comes into town. That seems like just the kind of shit. If you're going to run an organization, everybody needs to be on the same page. Like, I just don't know how the Watchers Council is organized at all.
It's like a community volunteer board, basically.
Didn't Giles mention that he must not have read a newsletter and he missed that?
A memo. He said they swear there was a memo, which I think is kind of like, actually that's Giles. He's kind of throwing some shade. He's kind of like saying they didn't really send a memo. That's the implication I got out of it.
It's also like, I guess the Watchers Council for some random reason treats Giles like shit. Like they don't invite the retreats. Giles,
I want to know
the Watcher of the most successful Slayer they've ever had. Like
of the only Slayer at the moment, right? That's the thing I don't understand is like to what percentage of the Watcher Council's mission is the Slayer? Because at certain times it seems like that's all they do, right? Yeah. And then they also seem to completely ignore doing that. Like,
well, I mean, clearly, from my Virgin perspective, like I've only seen this far in the show, right? Like clearly, the Watcher Council has other bigger shit going on than this. Like, obviously, from the way it treats Giles and the way he accepts that treatment from Gwendolyn, like they have bigger shit. I can't imagine what that bigger shit is. Maybe there's multiple Hellmouths they got to deal with. Maybe the devil is trying to get out of hell. I don't know. They got bigger shit to deal with than the vampire problem. And apparently this magically rebirthing vampire slayer thing that happens. But like, which, that's like, it's cool. We should have somebody that watches them and makes sure that they're on our side because that could be easily turned against us. Cool. We'll send someone there. But otherwise, let's work on the big shit, which is investment banking, or like...
Buffy's not just a Slayer who slays vampires. She's successfully stopped the end of the world at least twice, right, by this point?
Yeah, but that was in California, There's the end of the world in Chicago you gotta deal with. The end of the world in London,
Mike, I do think you're starting to understand this show's worldview.
Oh, am I?
I do think so. I think that is very much how the show sees it.
Oh, interesting. Well, I mean, I have some predictions about the Watcher Council later, but yeah, for future show.
Cool.
So do we need to talk? Yeah. So Dennis, you said there's a show that Faith is watching
on the old black and white TV. Yeah, the really randomly old black and white.
I think it was The Third Man. Do you know, John?
I looked at it after I saw your comment. It's something in black and white. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
I thought it was a Western. It's The Third Man.
Really? Okay, then I was totally off. I was thinking it was The Third Man for some reason. It reminded me of one scene from it, but I didn't go back and look, which, it's a... All right.
And then, Dennis, here you have a comment about Faith and Buffy are in a rocky patch.
That's right. Their relationship